Sunday, December 12th. We have had such a response to the Robert E. Lee, John Kelly, and slavery of video, such a response. And I've done written responses, but I want to get back on here and lay it out. So there's no question people hear it from me. These are some of the responses they gave. That I'm out of it. I'm totally out of it. I love all the personal stuff. That gets erased quickly because, when you make personal attacks, it means you have nothing. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. People never don't hear that anymore. It just doesn't matter when you make a personal attacks. You have no position. People were in there going, wow, the CSA, he led a country. He led the army of a country, the Confederate States of America. Really? What does Confederate mean? It used to have kind of a different meaning before the Civil War, but it became fake. Fake money was Confederate money. Fake states, the Confederate States of America. It was fake. He didn't lead a country. He led a bunch of people and states that wanted to use people as chattels so their economy would run and then call them slaves. That's what he led. Don't give me honorable. He was a traitor. He committed treason. Even when you read all the stuff where people talk about how they wanted to kind of move on, they still understood the Southerners as traitors and as committing treason. They sit there and they go, wow, it was a real economy. And what do we expect back then? What you expect back then is you don't take people and make them your chattel. You can't own people. You can't own people. And there's no excuse for what they did. Another one comes on and says, well, he was offered the head to be the head of the head general of the Union Army. And man, they must have been okay for that. No, he was offered that because he was the best. Abraham Lincoln offered it to him. He was the best. He turned it down. He decided to lead the army of the slavers. By doing that, he became a traitor. By doing that, he committed treason. There's no getting away from it. Then they go on and go, wow, and I've been reading this in different areas too. There would have been guerrilla warfare if there hadn't been a deal struck at Appomattox and if the Honorable Lee hadn't rolled over. What are you talking about? So what? The North would have kept going in, would have burned everything. There would have been nothing left. And these guerrillas would have turned into outlaws. Many of them did. They would have turned into outlaws. They would have been taken out because guerrilla warfare only works if there's an idea worth fighting for. The North Vietnamese fought for their country. The South's country was the United States of America. The only reason they wanted to break away, they really wouldn't have wanted to break away if they could have kept their slaves. That's what leads to the next issue. People go, slavery had nothing to do with the Civil War. What are you talking about? If there was no slavery, there would have been no Civil War. I mean, let's get down and dirty and straight about this. You want to have a guerrilla warfare, it would have been over. You know something? Maybe it would have been better if they didn't surrender, because then the North would have gone in and really given American black people the rights that they were entitled to, and they wouldn't have had to wait another 100 years till the civil rights movement in the 50s and the 60s. When they to overthrow the KKK and all the rest, which were no different than the Robert E. Lees of the world. What am I missing? I'm missing nothing. The statue should come down. Of course, I'm a believer it's up to the locals. In history, at the Gettysburg and places like that, statues shouldn't come down because that's history. But put them up as some people who you should revere. What are you revering Robert E. Lee for? He led the army of the slavers. And Kelly, the chief of staff of the president, talking about him being an honorable man. What's so honorable about leading an army of slavers? He did it. He did it. He can make every excuse he wanted afterwards. He did it. And the South had no right to do it. And then another one I heard was so great. Well, they had the absolute right to leave, just like the United States, the colonies left Britain. Another in left field argument. What are you talking about? The colonies weren't looked at as an equal state or an equal group or an equal country with Britain. They were considered colonies. People to be taken advantage of. We broke away. We brought up the Bill of Rights after the war and after the Articles of Confederation fell apart. That was another issue, if I may. Let me break right into that. The Articles of Confederation, that basically gave the states powers. It didn't work. We needed a central government. So it comes in, Robert E. Lee makes the mistake of mistakes. He decides to become a traitor, and he decides to commit treason. Quit coming at me with the BS responses. People should just go in and say, look, hey, Robert E. Lee was that. He knew he made a mistake because he backed down. He ended up releasing his slaves from bondage. Okay. And he and said there should be no statues going up. Okay, so he kind of was smart. He also knew the war was over. He also knew the South couldn't win. It didn't matter how many more armies they had left. The Northern blockade had shut down the Southern economy. They couldn't sell to the North. They couldn't sell to Europe. They were stuck. The slavers were stuck. And for some reason, we try to let history sound like Gone with the Wind. Oh, wow, they were really honorable. They weren't. They were traitors. So let's get over it. Those answers are easy. I can see more of the stuff coming in. I know what everybody's going to say, but you're so wrong. Read history. When you rise up against your government, you're a traitor. And when you're rising up on the basis of slavery and owning people, you're worse than a traitor. You got moral depravity and you're a slaver. Horrible. The man was a traitor. The man was treasonous. All of his people were, and that's just the way it was. And I don't care what John Kelly says or all the rest. History says it. Look on a map. You see CSA? No. You see Confederate States of America? No. Because they were traitors and they got put down. Wow. Just thought I had to lay it out. I get worked up over this. I can't believe some of the stuff these people are saying. Read history. They don't even teach it in the schools anymore. That's why people could get away with coming in and saying he was honorable and the CSA was real and it was a real country and slavery was like real economy and like, wow, they had the right to do all this stuff. So sad, as our president would say. But please, subscribe. Send us around, share us, comment, keep coming on in. I'm loving it. This is great. We're not backing down. Peace.